Hi, welcome to my shop. This is super simple woodworking with Eugenie. I'm Eugenie. Today I'm going to show you how to make an oil lamp holder. This has a simple rose motif and it's made of pine. And this is super simple woodworking. So this is something you can do even if you've never made anything with wood before. Today I have this pine board. This is a 1x10, about 4 feet. And I am also using this backing. This is a 1/4-inch pine veneered backing. This is great for, I'm going to use it for the bottom of the oil lamp holder, but it's also great if you make doors. In another video, I'm going to show you how to make a door. So, the first step is, I downloaded the plan. In the plan, you're going to get a wood list, a cut list, the tools and supplies you need, and a step-by-step instructions on how to make this in case you need it. All right, I cut out the template, taped them together. This is the back of the oil lamp holder, this is the side, and this is the front. So this one has a rose, but for today I didn't put the rose on the side. I'm making a model without the rose on the side, just on the back. So we're going to place it on the board. One thing about pine, this is knotty pine, and this one has some knots, which is fine because these are not dark all the way around. When you choose wood, you're going to make sure that it's flat, and you want to make sure that it's not cracked, and you never make a project with a knot that looks like this, because this is dark all the way around on both sides. There's a good chance that this is going to fall out and ruin your project. So, but a knot like this is fine. They're light, and you can tell that it's not going to just pop out. This board is nice and straight. Some boards are a little crooked, or a little warped, but the most important thing is that it's not warped this way. Okay, so now the next step is I'm gonna put this here, and all right, this one's gonna go like this. And then I'm gonna cut 2 of these. You wanna go with the grain of the wood. The wood grain goes this way. So you have to think about that when you're making a project. And then this, I like the grain to go this way. So even though it would fit this way, I'm gonna cut it this way. So now the grain is gonna go this way in the front, and then up and down on the sides, and like this. So next, I'm gonna take a pencil. I'm going to trace all the way around, all the pieces, and then cut them out on the bandsaw. When you cut on the bandsaw, make sure you go on the outside of the pencil line as close as you can get to the pencil line. That'll make a nice, neat project. So to save time, I've cut it out already. Now the next thing to do would be to route it. I have my router installed in my table, and I used a 1/4-inch bit to make the slot. I went in about halfway in the wood, and that's going to make a place to put the bottom of the lamp holder. So there's the top, the back. I cut it all the way across, and I cut this one all the way across because, okay, and then this, I stopped here and I stopped here because you don't want a hole on the side of your project. When I put this together, it makes a nice place for the bottom, but then you don't see any hole in the front. All right, so I routed it and I sanded it and I drew the rows. So now I'm going to show you how to carve the rows using a handheld rotary tool and a 5/16 carving bit. That's the only bit you need. I carve everything. I have 140 models on my other website, and I carve everything with this. I do birds, flowers, geometrics, all different kind of designs, and it's all done with a 5/16 carving bit and a Dremel. So the fun thing about this woodworking is it's very simple. You just need a few tools. There's no complicated joinery. It's all butt joints held together with screws and glue. That I call my glue, screw, and cap method, which is the way I build everything that I build. I have 140 models on my other website, and they're all made the same way. All my projects can be made in a day or 2 at the most. Now I'm going to carve the rows. I have a dust collector installed in my table. If you don't have this, you should set up a shop vac near to where you carve, because this type of carving makes a lot of dust. And you could also wear a dust mask if that bothers you. Okay, so now next I'm going to carve the rose. I'm going to pass once. If it's not deep enough, I'll pass again. I'm going to start off making the rose, and then I'm going to do the leaves. When I'm finished, I'm going to sand it, and that's it. Carved the rose. It looks a little rough, but I'm going to sand it and you're going to see what it looks like. I'm using a 120 grit sandpaper and a handheld sander. Now this is what your rose is going to look like. It's important when you finish sanding to go back and forth smoothly with the grain, so that in case you move the sander around like this a little bit, you're not going to leave any swirly designs on your project. Okay, so at the end you saw that I went up and down to make this look nice and smooth. It's good to sand as you go, as you're making your project, because I'm not going to be able to stick the sander in after, so it's good to sand the pieces first. All right, now I'm going to assemble it using my glue, screw, and cap method. This is a good method because it's strong, it's efficient, and it looks great. I'm using wood glue. I've cut out caps out of dowels. These are 5/16 dowels, and I cut out little caps, and this is going to hide all the screw holes, so you won't see any screws in the project. But the screws, they hold really tight in pine, and it makes a strong project. And once the wood dries there, it's going to be very sturdy. So now I'm going to assemble it. Okay, so when I'm going to put my side here, I've installed a clamp board. I find that this makes it easier so that the project doesn't move. And now I'm going to use 2 1¼ inch wood screws. I use this to build everything except for the doors. The doors I use a longer screw, and this is a V-head wood screw. I use the round head wood screws for the doors. Okay, so now I'm going to add a bit of glue. But first, I'm going to use my drill. You'll need a set of drills if you want to do this kind of woodworking efficiently, because this is a number 8 Robertson, and I've got a countersinking drill bit. I like this because it makes the hole for the top of the screw at the same time, and then you can neatly put a little cap in, and then the screw's gone. So now I'm going to, you have to pre-drill your project, your screw holes, so that you don't split the wood. Because we're making all butt joints, if you just drilled it in without, if you tried to put the screw in without countersinking it, it's going to crack your wood. So now I'm going to make my pilot hole. Okay, you're going to make sure that you don't hit the bottom where you're going to put the little wood. So I put it about 2 inches up. Now I'm going to put 2 screws. So I'm going to go a little higher. Now I'm going to add glue. Now you can see where the 2 screw holes are. I'm going to put some glue. Put a little too much there. As you're making your project, always wipe off the extra glue when you're done, because it's really hard to get off after. All right, so now I'm going to put the screws in. Okay, so now you can see, put this in. I have a little extra glue here, so I'm going to take it off. Now I'm going to put the caps in. Actually, I'll put the whole thing together first, and then when I'm done, I put the caps in. So I'm going to put the other side in. Okay, so now I'm going to attach the front piece first, because if you put the other side piece in, you're not going to be able to slide the bottom in. I've pre-cut the bottom. And so now we're going to put the front, and then we're just going to slide the bottom in. So now I'm going to hold this like this. I only need 1 screw for this. Now, there's a nice slot, and I can just slide the bottom in. First. Now I'm going to put 2 screws on the bottom like I did on the other side. There. Next step, we're going to cover, I'm going to put the caps in. Okay, so I've made my caps. These I'm going to use to plug the screw holes. Oh, I see a little extra glue there. I'm going to wipe that off now. Put the caps in. And use a little finishing hammer. I rolled the caps in glue. There we go. take off a little bit of the excess glue. Now I have two sanders. The small one I showed you earlier, and I have the great corrector. So this is this. I have 120 grit on this, and this is what I use to take the caps, to sand the caps down. Because this, it would be hard to get them perfectly smooth with the hand sander. This works great. Now I'm just going to noticed that this is a little crooked, so I'm going to use the great corrector to fix this too. Now I'm going to use a finishing sander. It's nice when your projects, I like to sand off all the sharp edges. So now would be the time to do that. Okay, so I didn't finish this yet, but you get the idea. This is what the oil lamp holder is going to look like. You can also adjust this if your oil lamp happens to be bigger than this space. Mine's small, so it fits, but yeah. So the only thing left to do is to make the holes that we're going to hang it up with. And I bought these caps. Make sure you have the right size bit for the cap. And then, okay, I'm going to make two holes. The top, or one on the top and one about here. That is to keep the lamp, so if somebody nudges against it or something, it's not going to move, because an oil lamp, you want them sturdy. You don't want it to be able to move. So now I'm going to take off my countersinking drill bit, and I'm going to put this on. This is a 7/16. It matches my caps. Okay, so now I've marked where I'm going to make my holes to hang it up. Now the idea with this is to make the space for the cap, but you don't want to drill all the way through. So you're going to make your hole just about as thick as the button is. There. Now we have the hole for the caps. So you're going to hang up your project and put the caps on. I use a little bit of hot glue. I find it's perfect to hold the cap in. And if you put wood glue, then if you ever want to move it, well, it'll be hard to get the cap out. But with hot glue, it'll just pop out. All right, so this is, in a little bit of time, look what you've made with my lamp. And, okay, so if your lamp's bigger, you could make it a little deeper. And there's your lamp holder. So thank you for watching today. If you like my videos, subscribe. And upcoming projects are going to be how to make a door, how to make a shelf, how to make a teacup shelf, other hints on woodworking, but simple woodworking. Stuff that even if you have never made this before, you can do it. Thank you.